Incoherent Ramblings Special! Destination SpaceX.
Howdy, partners, and welcome to the first ever Incoherent Rambling Special. Yes, today. What is the special, sir?
Today, our special.
No, I was gonna have you did it earlier.
Today, we have Ramblings go down to SpaceX in beautiful Hawthorne, California, where Hitler has invaded the United States of America. But we kicked his ass and went back to it.
So for this special, which is going to be the first ever special, so shut the special. It's 001, I guess, or 01.
This is our first field trip.
Yes, our first field trip and our first special. This is going to be produced and published right away. So I'm Joey Schammel, your host. We've also got
Paul Hottinger,
Cale Anderson, and Daryl George.
And today we're going to be sponsored by SpaceX because that's where we went. And that's where our field trip was. Daryl had an in with a guy named Austin who was really cool.
Very cool.
Awesome.
And Austin was awesome. Yes, he was. And he gave us a tour and was really amazing. So we'll just go over it. I think before we start, though, we should talk a little bit about what SpaceX is for those who may not know. It's privatizing space, I guess, is a way to look at it.
It's a private space company that has already launched missions to the International Space Station.
Did you say it's funded created by Elon Musk?
Yes.
So Elon Musk makes a lot of money in PayPal, and he says, you know what, we need to go to Mars, but no one's doing it well, so I'm going to do it myself.
And we all helped pay for that place.
Yeah, that's true.
And so apparently he went around at first to NASA and different countries, and everywhere was really expensive. So he said
China and Russia.
Yeah, and so he said, well, fine, we're going to do it ourselves with like off-the-shelf computing. And then he just realized more and more that they had to make their own stuff. And the place we went makes pretty much all their own stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Austin was saying the bulk of all the materials are made there.
Right. I'm sure they subcontract out also.
But a large majority of the R&D is done there,
Yeah.
and the actual manufacturing of everything. And
Yeah.
it's a huge place.
Yeah, and
it's a big plant.
So anyone who's ever seen Iron Man 2, Hammer's factory there is where they filmed So
they had to evict Hammer and take over the place.
No. They filmed at SpaceX for
Hammer Industries.
Which was Hammer Industries. Very good. So that gives you a feel about what it was like. It was a really cool place.
I don't know. I saw Iron Man suit there, so I think that maybe...
I wonder if they got that because they filmed...
Probably.
That's probably what... Yeah.
And
but then explain the Star Wars posters. Those classic
They're
posters.
just cool.
They're just cool shit on the wall.
Yeah.
How did they get them?
I don't know. He said they were original posters, so I don't know if they were
they were signed.
crazy.
I saw they were signed.
Well, let's start from the beginning then. So the first instruction was to be there at 11 o'clock across the street in the parking lot, and then Daryl was to text Austin to get us in because they're very high security because they're doing national security space things for NASA. Somebody say that in a better way.
They're going to be launching satellites for NASA, and
they've already sent up missions to the space station for NASA.
Yeah.
So it's high security there, and I mean not high security like armed guards or anything.
Well, we were told. My first question was, can we record our podcast as we're touring? And I was told no audio recordings, no video recordings, no photos. No hand notes.
No handwritten notes.
Nothing.
Dude, so all of us left our phones in the car except Daryl, which we didn't have to do.
We should have gotten frozen yogurt first because I would have carved things into it.
But then it would have melted and wouldn't have been no good. So the first thing we did was realize we were about an hour early, so we went to Burger King and got some breakfast. But then...
It was delicious.
It was quite good. We went to Hawthorne, which
Well,
is
you
where
guys
this
had
is.
breakfast. Daryl and I had lunch.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
We split it
That was
evenly
more
down the middle.
brunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brunch.
Then we had breakfast for dinner.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes.
So then what ended up happening was we went and parked across the street, and then we walked up, said to the guards, hey, we're here for, the tour. They said, you got your ID?
That was a very unusual social moment for you.
Yeah,
You
it
just
gets me
walked right
sometimes.
out here.
And the guard was very nice. She said, welcome to SpaceX.
Well, and the thing is, the thing with me is, like, I kind of felt we were all a little not sure what to do.
Yeah.
And so strangely, socially, I'll take charge in positions like that because I feel more awkward if everyone's like, da, 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 da. Then I feel like an idiot. Then I feel like shy and everything. But if I'm up there and I talk and I feel it, then I'm better. So yeah, I went up to the guard and said...
Because, we looked like 4 terrorists.
We had to... Okay, and that's the other thing. Swamp Ass is going to be huge today.
Ultimate Swamp
Ass, because not only has it been 100 degrees for the last week, and we are now filming. We are now recording in the middle of the day at Kale's place because we just got back. It's about 1 or 2.
Daytime.
We have to turn off the air, and we're all in pants and shirts because we were kind of business casual. Yeah, as Daryl said.
Big boy pants.
And now, and Kale is being part of the group because even though he's home, he's not taking his pants off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yet.
So we arrived there, and we go to the lady. She's very nice. She said, make sure you have your IDs because they only let us in if we're citizens and could prove it. So we got there.
And all along the way, Austin was just emphasizing, make sure they're all U.S. citizens.
Nice to meet you. I am U.S. citizen, yes. Let me go in and see your spacey space things that go into the air.
So how did that whiplash get in there?
Yeah, what the heck? So we went into the lobby.
He's actually Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, yeah, Mickey Rooney. He was funny. Wait, Mickey Rourke, was he one of the monkeys?
No.
Wait.
No.
I think the monkeys there's Mickey Dolenz and somebody
right.
Rourke,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
Yeah, that's true.
There's one of the other guys is last name is Rourke. Anyway, when I first heard Iron Man 2 that Mickey Rourke was going to be playing Whiplash, I thought it was Mickey Dolenz, and I was like, that doesn't match at all. I don't understand. Okay, anyway, so we go into the lobby, and in the lobby, it's totally like one of those futuristic lobbies. Everything's white, and they got the SpaceX logo, and there's 2 ladies, very nicely dressed, young. Not really young, but like 20s probably.
Early 20s.
Yeah, behind their Apple computers. Yeah, and they're just yes, hello, how can I help you? It was just totally like we're in the future. It was awesome, and they had these red freaking seats with this table with 3 holes in it, which was weird, not very efficient.
Ghost face table.
Yeah, it looked like good. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It looks like a scared ghost face.
Yeah, we'll find out actually what that is, and
we
put
can
it
post
in
it in
the
the show
show
Yeah,
notes.
because we couldn't take pictures.
Yeah, we couldn't take pictures. They
My
said
Google Glass never came in.
Well, what's interesting is that I was wondering what that area was right next to us with all those people in there.
Yeah.
And then when Austin told us that for foreigners who can't even come in and take the tour with their ID, that they have to have meetings or give presentations to them in that room.
But it was interesting the open air feel that they had because a lot of these conference rooms, they were just they had glass paneling all the way around the room, and it was just frosted in strips. So it offered, like a certain amount of privacy, but it kind of reminded me of like CTU from 24, where there's that like conference room right in the center where everyone can see in. It's just one of those things where you can just kind of look in there if you really want to. I think the frosting just kind of makes it so that if you want to peek in and see what everyone's doing,
I like the
kind of
name.
You're not staring.
I like the
see
names of the
everything.
conference rooms too. There was the Einstein room and the
it was all scientists.
Yeah, everything's
Yuri
themed.
Gagarin.
Well, let's start with that because basically we waited in the nice red, funky modern chairs around the holy table, 3 holy table. Well, it's such an inefficient table because like we were talking about it, like you put your remote down and it slides down one of these holes, and you're like,
It was
my remote?
It was a fancy lobby table.
Yeah. So Austin shows up. He's really cool guy. Got like a beard, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And he introduced himself to us, and I was kind of I don't know what I was expecting, but he was really cool off the bat.
Austin's an old friend of mine. I worked part-time at the Planetary Society for a while. He was also working there at the same time. And we had a mutual friend, Brandon, and we used to play like weekly poker tournaments at Brandon's house. So that's basically how we're connected to him.
Yeah, and we hadn't met him before. We'd heard about him a lot. But, he was a really cool guy. He's like, okay, we had our badges. We had badges around our neck, and we went in.
We needed stinking badges.
We did, or, they wouldn't let us in. So the first thing he showed us was the area where the conference rooms were, and it was really nice. It was like office-like, but it had a nice open feel to it.
Yeah.
And then we moved in.
The cubicles were very low.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that Austin commented about is that a lot of times people have their CAD plans on their computer screen or whatever, and you can just kind of like go through there and say, hey, what are you working on there? What's that part? Or like, could you look up something for me because we have a problem to solve with a particular...
There's a very open feel there with the cubicles. I mean, it probably had to be like 100 cubicles in that room.
Right, it was a huge
each person,
room.
he said, you basically can stand up, talk to your neighbor.
Exactly.
It's an open feel of going around and open
whole
collaboration with everyone, and everyone's approachable, including Elon Musk, who wasn't there.
He had a little bit of a partition wall.
A little bit, yeah, but you could walk into his area. It's not like having to go to a secretary to get in there.
Well, the thing is I think they did a good balance, because if you've ever seen a completely open concept, without cubicles at all, I personally don't think it works. It's just you're staring at the person across from you. You can't get anything done. Yeah. On the other hand, a regular cubicle area, which I've worked in before, is too enclosed.
It's like that scene in Children of Men.
Right.
Where they're sitting across from each other and they have the transparent monitors.
Yeah. It doesn't work. And so here, though, the what would you say? If you're sitting down, you're not really seeing anybody, because the cubicles probably go up to about head level when you're sitting down, maybe a little lower.
And also a good thing, too, is just that the monitors are in front of you, and they come up about a half a foot above the partition. Right. So you don't, if you're working, because you're always looking at a monitor, you won't see anybody.
Yeah, so the privacy in that room's very, and it's very quiet and hushed in there. Yeah. Except when we came in later and Daryl's like,
it's so loud on the factory floor or outside, and then you come in and you have to realize you're screaming.
We'll get to that.
It was nice seeing, looking through everyone's cubicles and stuff, is you see a lot of personalized stuff in their area, so it's not very
green
business.
Badger?
Okay, the blue badger.
Blue badger,
okay, you got to understand what was happening with the blue badger, because I figued out the whole pattern.
So what is this blue sun?
Okay, we were talking about furries. let's just say, before the trip we were talking about, let's just say costumed people, all right?
Right.
And so we were making jokes about it. So we're walking down the first time, and Kale says, oh, look, a blue badger. Later, when we're walking through again, Kale's showing me, oh, look, blue badger, and Daryl goes, oh, blue badger, because he thinks it's from Firefly, and so Austin comes up, and he's like, blue badger, what are you guys talking about? And I'm there going, oh, jeez. I can tell he's a Firefly fan because he's
I was trying to draw Daryl into the joke, too.
Into the joke of blue badger, but it was funny, because Daryl took it seriously, like, oh, that's cool, and Austin was like, oh, what's blue badger? Right?
And then I thought, wait a minute, is that from Firefly?
Yeah, and then Austin's like, I don't think it was from Firefly.
It was Blue Sun.
Well, Blue Sun.
Yeah. So that was.
Are you going to find it, Paul?
Well, I did find a thing with the logo similar here.
That is it.
Blue Badger Books.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was probably just something some guy put up, and we made a whole thing out of it. Anyway, so after the quick look at the office,
I thought he was going to say, "Don't talk about the blue badger."
You should not speak of the blue badger.
He's sensitive about it. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we then went to the factory floor, and the first thing we got to walk by, it was so cool because it's like mission control, and there's all these people sitting down in this kind of darkened room. It was this huge open ceiling, but the room was kind of darkened, and they had big computer screens in front of them, flat screens, and then there were three for each person. And doing all their stuff.
They're probably like 24-inch monitors.
And then on the wall was this huge projection of the rocket, or whatever they're working on, and then individual pictures of different parts of the rockets, and they're doing like tests on this rocket, wherever it is.
Yeah, so the whole entire wall was a monitor.
Well, yeah, the whole wall was kind of like a combined 3-screen projection. They had like a 4-up display on the left, a main display in the middle, then like a 16-up display or something like that on the right. And it was very impressive. It's interesting, though, how, like, just because of the kind of room it was and the environment, it seemed almost unofficial. But you can tell that it's really
anybody
serious.
Could just walk in there and be like, hey, guys.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you guys noticed what they had was they had fingerprint things for everything.
Right.
It looks like it was it looked like it was twofold. Looks like they had a like time clock type thing maybe. Right. But it was also to get in the room. Oh no, to get in the rooms was just a card.
This is the card.
The fingerprint was, I think, for clocking in and out.
They have biometric security.
I didn't notice
that.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
it was interesting on their screens, though. I mean, the people working in there at the time, they got all the graphs and this and that, but the left monitor just looked like an old IRC chat.
Yeah, I think it was IRC. Yeah.
And what was cool about it was that the one wall behind them was just glass, and it went out onto the factory floor, and so you can actually, next to where the commissary or cafeteria or whatever that was, restaurant was. And it had such a nice feel. And hovering over us at that point was the actual Dragon module, which Daryl had to even bring up, or Kale, that was Daryl. is that the actual module? Because it doesn't look
It looks
like
fake.
He
it.
said that earlier, but I'm going like, that doesn't look right. It doesn't even look real. It looks like
a foam mock-up, and he says,
Yeah.
"Well, it actually it kind of
Yeah,
is."
it's made of foam in a lot of places.
It's like what you see at like Universal Studios or
Right.
just a set.
And it almost
it looks like they sprayed the black paint
kind
on
of like
for the
because
charring.
maybe it's a testament to how accurate that kind of
it
work
was
is done.
really
Because
awesome.
it looked kind of fakey, but it's the actual
the
one
actual
that
one
went
awesome.
into space.
Wow.
And he told us the mission. Of course, since we couldn't write it down, can't remember. It was
Something three.
Three.
C3. P-O.
something like that.
It was something 3.
It was a C3PO
I
mission.
think it was
yeah.
C3.
C3.
C3 mission.
And so and when you go through that area, then you're out onto the factory floor, and to the left is where the restaurant. I don't know what to call it. It's like a
Cafeteria.
restaurant. But it's fancier than a cafeteria.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Cafeteria.
It's called cafeteria.
Commissary.
Commissary, I think,
And
is
also,
right.
next to the capsule, he showed us where the mock-up of the one leg.
Oh yeah,
Remember?
Yeah.
for the grasshopper, which is they want.
Yeah, that was
they're-
huge.
It's huge. They're working on basically returning the second
You got
stage
to
of a
remember
rocket.
the actual rocket that is going to land on 3 of those supports. They have to be huge because the rocket's 12 feet in diameter, and
Yep.
I want to say
Didn't say-
224 feet tall.
Wow.
It's on the website. So.
Yeah, but
I
not
thought he said
that
it's-
section. The section that's going
Oh,
to
that's
be
true,
on the
that's true, that's
grasshopper.
true.
He said
You're
it's like a
right.
10-story building.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
That
and
that first stage is pretty long.
who
Though.
could answer
Yeah.
the trivia? Why is it always 12 feet in diameter?
Because they want it to be.
No, because that's the maximum width it could be to be
Yes.
put on a big rig to be shipped to.
Yes,
the
that's true.
Cape
I knew
or
that. I
Vandenberg.
just wanted to beep with you.
But they would
guys.
still have to put the oversized.
That's the oversize.
on it. Right.
Yeah. So, and it was just amazing because you look one direction and you see the big glass window into the mission control. Go ahead, One Direction joke. Go ahead, put it in. I know you want it.
Directed by Morgan Spurlock.
Thank you. Okay. That's why you're beautiful.
Oh,
And so, then you look the other way and you're out on. You see the huge factory floor where they're working on all these engines and thrust machines.
Yeah, they have all these.
Daryl
actual
touched the carbon
thrusters there.
fiber.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed
stuff.
to. I'm sorry.
They had a
was
big
not
glass
supposed to.
room where they're working on.
broke it.
There's a big glass room that was sealed where they're working on all sorts of stuff in there. What was it? They're working on the capsule itself. I
Austin
think?
was just like, "That's the big glass room."
They were components of.
Yeah.
Components of it, and one guy just like opened the sliding door and was
And
just like
they're talking to the
just
guy.
like talking to somebody else. That's
And
pretty.
it wasn't
room
like
my
you could tell there wasn't like a positive pressure blowing out of it.
Right.
So he was just.
Well, you asked that. Remember, he said, "Yeah, it wasn't positive
Yeah,
pressure.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it's just a clean room."
Right.
And
They don't want you drooling on stuff and all that.
so you get this view of on one side of you've got mission control, and they showed it. I don't know if you guys saw, and I was wondering if Austin was going to mention they had a rocket that was like not launching, but they were like doing
Right.
tests on it, and I was wondering if that was live.
It's 8 days to launch.
So
I'm
they were
pretty sure
prob-
that was live.
Yeah,
was
and,
live.
and throughout the factory they had monitors up, and quite a few of them had the
It was
picture
so
of,
cool,
of
yeah.
the.
Right.
Where was it? Where's the launch taking place? Vandenberg.
Vandenberg.
And,
yeah,
they
were just
had
all
the
over,
live
yeah.
picture so that everybody could know what was going on.
Yeah, it was very cool. So you've got the
And he talked about they had the rocket erect, then they had priapism, and then they had to bring it back down.
and then the joke was
Oh, did you have to call a doctor after 4 hours?
we just went don't piss this guy off. Okay.
Yeah, and Austin went, oh, yeah. He was impressed with that one.
I just gotta say real quick, with you touching the carbon fiber, that a lot of those outer components and stuff is made of that carbon fiber. That is
Don't
good stuff. Dude.
don't
That's
touch that.
good. It's nice.
We're gonna hear
They're-
about something failing because Daryl touched the carbon
Yeah.
fiber.
And we asked about it, and he said it's proprietary. They actually make it this special formula themselves.
I think maybe he felt a little bad about that because when we went into that other room, he said, "Oh, you can touch that, the spam stuff." He's like,
yeah.
you can touch that. That's okay. So I was like,
Right.
Yeah.
okay. So the factory floor was huge, and we got a better look of it later as he took us out to it. But first, he moved us out to his area where he works, which is basically the testing of everything, the components, putting them through their paces to make sure they can go into space. He's the electrical engineer, super god of the component.
Yeah, they
Avionics.
test
Avionics,
the
Avionics.
stress of everything. I mean, they go through the if it was
he ended up,
simulate being struck by
He
lightning.
made it sound like wasn't it like
magnetism.
5 guys with him in that.
He said 12.
He said
He
he's
said about 12.
Twelve?
He said he's like
Oh, okay, 12,
he said it's really interesting because most of the places have different levels, different departments for each level, like the creation, the development, creation, testing, and everything. But because they kind of go all through the levels.
Yeah.
So he was calling like, we're the black sheep. We do everything. We're the separate little group that.
Well, they set their own guidelines.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thermals.
So, but yeah, what Paul was starting to say is that they have to test everything to see what if do the components handle a lightning strike on the rocket. What happens
testing.
with ionic when they hit the ionosphere? What kind of charges are made across the surface of the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I even asked them about like cosmic rays and gamma rays and stuff like that, and they do some more hardcore testing in facilities out of state for that kind of thing, where they do. Those are places where he said they do cancer research, I think.
Yeah.
Out in
gosh,
wherever.
where was it?
It was a red-eye flight.
See,
he had to
I wanted. Man, we need to take notes.
That was for the.
I don't know, something. Yeah.
That was for a special
But the
test.
thing is, like, they could
zap it with radiation.
exactly. Yeah.
And if it's gamma radiation, it gets very angry.
Yeah, you don't.
So he
and you're
was
hoping the
saying that,
suits will protect people, because if they get hit by gamma radiation, it could turn into make the
thing.
people invisible,
Right.
Or made a rock.
Make their heads
Yep.
big, with green, with bulging veins.
Bulging. Oh, and we got to see the spacesuits too. They're working on them. He showed us.
We forgot. We got to wear our.
Oh, that's right.
jackets.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Let's go back. So when we were in where Austin works, you had to wear a SpaceX lab coat, and we were styling.
Yes.
I think he did that more for us than
It was cool. That's
we
probably
weren't going to be working on anything.
No, but it's probably a recommendation.
Well, no,
it's probably
there
a
is-
static thing, right?
Yeah, if you look, like there's one spot that when we were upstairs later on, we'll talk about. I think we were supposed to have them on as well, but we didn't. But we
had
wore
the
them.
grip tape by the door.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
noticed
we had to
when we
wear it
went
because of
in
the
and
static
out
and
of
stuff.
several different places, they had the static
Stack pads.
Yeah.
stack pads, stat pads, whatever.
So,
Stamp pads,
so
tan packs,
in the room,
Maxis.
Maxis.
yes, in the room where he works, there's like these big ovens or coolers, I guess. You put in the equipment to see if they can handle the rigors of space, and they had them all named after places in Las Vegas, which was kind of cool. You see this a lot in SpaceX, where
Bellagio.
they've themed certain areas with names and even pictures, and it's really cool.
The main testing room they had was called the Voodoo Lounge.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
well, not a room. It's more of a cage, like a Faraday cage slash
anechoic chamber in there. Mm-hmm. Very dead sounding room because it had the tile and all sorts of foam fins and stuff along the ceiling.
Oh, and we got to touch on the antennas. They called it spam. Okay,
True.
got to touch it and went ooh, and they heated
It
me
felt
up.
like email to me. So the thing that he was saying is that a lot of people in the company design like a circuit board, right? And they say, all right, this thing's great, it'll function.
Wasn't that funny?
Hey.
Sorry, what? Go ahead.
So the problem is that like they get a circuit board and it's like, okay, yeah, this thing will perform the function we need it to, but can it survive the rigors of space? So they have to often redesign it where they pack it in a Faraday cage, and they have to get the connectors in the right spot so that it's not going to be they have to make sure things can be tensioned the right way, and so it's not only the testing for all of the electrical faults that could happen and radiation and stuff like that, but like Joey said, the thermals,
the physical,
how many times it can go from
I
low
feel like
temperature
I'm
to
wearing
high,
thermals right now.
and then they also had vibration tests too, where they
that's right,
test for like harmonic frequencies that would happen in the device to cause failure.
And Austin was saying basically his job. It's like everybody else's job. They make the stuff. They make the circuitry or whatever.
Right.
Then it's his job to make it work in space.
Yeah.
It's basically what it comes down to. So that was really cool. He showed us all the whole area where he works in and how his job works. So that was very cool.
My favorite of all the machines and stuff, they were saying they were named after places
Sahara,
in Hollywood.
Circus.
I like the Hangover.
Yeah.
It's just a hangover head.
And they even had a screensaver monitor
With all the guys
on
on
top, and it had all the guys from the Hangover on it.
Right.
And that's what's cool. It's the place is feels very much like a place you want to work.
It's a geek hangout.
Yeah.
Well, and I know they have to do it that way because he said that they work such long hours, and you basically don't have a life. Your life is SpaceX, so you live there.
Seriously, they named their main module Dragon. I mean,
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What's the new one called?
Dragon.
No. Not the other.
Falcon is the rocket.
Falcon's the rocket.
And Red Dragon's the Mars one.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
That's
No, he just made it.
No, I read it on the website.
Oh, okay.
By the way, in that first room that was very quiet, they had they had a huge picture of Mars, and next to it a huge picture of Mars with what it would look like when it's terraformed.
Yeah. That was cool.
That was very.
I've seen that before, and it was cool to see it blown up huge.
Yeah.
So
Good to see
we
you.
also saw, before we got to Austin's area, we also got to the area, we got to see up where they're making the spacesuits, and they look very cool. He said they look like the ones on Prometheus with the big...
Yeah, they're very
face.
modern. I mean, they're very like, you think of us like sci-fi
see the
suits.
Yeah,
with the helmet kind of far away.
You know, it's a lot like, remember when we were with the Foundation, how he said, all you need is basically something spandex-like to basically hold you in, and that's what it looks like. It looks
like Star Trek, like the new Star Trek,
and it had the big face. So it was, it is a lot like the new Star Trek. You're right. So that looked really cool. Excuse me. And after that, we went on to the factory floor a little further, and you got to see a whole bunch. I mean, there were huge pieces of the rockets.
They were putting together a Dragon module in a clean room, and. There were sections of the rocket fuselage, and then there were booster rockets.
Yeah, you pretty much saw the whole thing in pieces.
Yeah,
they were building the whole damn thing there.
Way in the back where we weren't allowed.
Yeah. There was a certain area that we couldn't go beyond because
I really like the
danger.
Over by the part where we couldn't. There's a certain part where we couldn't go past because it's where the factory is, and I'm sure it's a safety issue and everything. Yeah. But there was one part of the fuselage where they were having a sonar unit going through it, and it's inside it.
Very cool.
It spins and the arm goes through it, and it's basically sending sonars reflecting back and forth on it to look for impurities and anything in the structure. To make sure that it would be okay for launch.
You can tell this is a well-run facility because there are hundreds, actually thousands of people in there. You're seeing them all work, doing their own thing, and everything is busy. Everybody's doing something. You see a piece of a rocket, it's somewhere, and someone's working on it. They're doing something. And it was just incredible to see this much work going into, he said it was like a huge, puzzle that everybody's trying to put together to make work, and they
at the
do
same
it.
time.
It was and it was amazing. You see a piece of a rocket, and there's people with instruments walking in there doing stuff, and I don't know what they're doing, but they do.
Well, aerospace is very complicated too.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard people who work in aerospace discuss the design and the number of parts and everything, and they say building a car by comparison is child's play. A car, you might have 10,000 parts or something like that, but you build an airplane or a rocket, you suddenly have hundreds of thousands of parts.
And hundreds of thousands of parts?
Yes.
And all those parts have to go into an environment that none of the other industries have to work with.
Yeah, the vacuum of space.
So the factory was very cool. It also had one of those big lift things on girders. What do you call those?
Oh yeah.
Lift things.
Lifts.
Lifts, yeah.
They were kind of cranes.
Huge cranes that were just built into the roof or the ceiling, and they could just come down and lift up huge pieces of the rocket and move them over to bring a truck in.
Rotate them around too.
Move them around. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. So it was really cool to see that. So then he took us upstairs. We saw the door to the showers.
Well, we also, before that, we saw the larger module that splits open.
Oh, that's right, for the
then
top.
He talked about the emergency ejection system.
Yes.
It was a great system because it's the system actually acts faster than the explosion. So basically, if the rocket underneath the people and the capsule explodes,
or payload.
Yeah,
whatever.
While it's
on the pad.
Nuclear payload. No.
that capsule will eject whatever out just faster than the explosion can reach them.
And send it off to the ocean, basically.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Such a great idea.
Very much needed because it just shows that they're putting not only money and the care into the payloads of their customers, but also the people that are going into it.
And the thing is that he said it. They've had all success so far, and for the most part, I don't think they've had any huge failures at all.
Well, he said that
nothing
one,
disastrous.
that small one where one of the rockets didn't go off.
Right.
And
Well, the Falcon 9 has 9 boosters.
Oh, yeah, right.
One of the boosters didn't go off, and so the
Or he said
computer
it blew out.
whatever happened to it, it no longer was boosting. Anyway, and so the computer immediately adjusted the rest of the boosters to compensate for it.
And it kept on course.
It just kept going.
Yeah.
And
that's amazing.
And the thing was,
he was discussing one of the Grasshopper missions doing that. It was hovering. And it was managed to maintain hover and land itself with the one...
that's what he was talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so the thing is they do a very good job. You can tell because they know, in that type of business, as he said, there's eventually going to be something that's going to go wrong probably, but they're doing everything they can to minimize that risk, and they seem to be doing an amazing job of it.
And he had talked about sometimes the little bit of resistance that they would get, because early missions were estimated that they had something like a 50% chance of failure. And of course they're unmanned and they're not carrying payload at that point. But they got lucky and they were successful. And then he said he got a little pushback when he was telling people to, we got to change this design. And it's like, people are like, well, why? It worked. But the thing is that... Yeah, the thing is that your luck's going to run out eventually. Just because you're lucky on the first couple of launches doesn't mean it's going to...
Yeah, it's not a perfection.
Yeah.
So anyway, he took us up the stairs so we could see an overview of the factory floor next to the showers. And as he was saying how they
Chill, bro.
gym membership. Hey, give me some of that.
Well, yeah, he was explaining a lot of the great perks that you get working at SpaceX. One is they have a gym membership across the street that they can go to. They have free soda. They have...
wait, hold on. Say that again. They have free what?
They have free all-you-can-drink soda.
And they have like a coffee bar.
Probably shouldn't be pouring that over.
Barista coffee
Probably shouldn't
bar.
be pouring
I was
these.
wondering if it was going to bubble over.
Probably shouldn't be pouring the soda over the podcast machine.
Recorder, yeah.
Which I'm now calling the podcast machine.
And
That was a very technical term.
that commissary was real nice. He was saying that it's only like $5 to eat whatever you want there.
And also, I made a joke about this when we were driving in, but when we got there, it actually showed there was free charging for your Tesla.
Yes, it was.
That was sweet, man.
Yeah,
See
it was.
that
It was
Tesla?
true.
Yeah, that was
For those who don't know, what's his name made the Tesla car?
What was it he said you had to do to
Elon
park?
Musk.
5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, they had an indoor parking lot where
On the second
we
floor.
walk through to the second floor to get to the IT department and stuff. But indoor parking lot that if you work 5 years or more, you get to go in that parking structure.
He kept asking us if we wanted anything to eat or drink, and I realized it was around lunchtime. He was probably wanted to get something to eat or drink.
yeah.
And we kept going, no, we're fine, we're good, don't worry
I would
about
have
it.
believed that, but when I finally said, yeah, I'll get something to drink,
Right.
he didn't get anything.
Well, no, I think at the end, if we would have said at the end when he asked us if we wanted to get something, he probably would have ate with us because he was going to get something to eat. So.
all right.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe he was too cool for us because he was pretty cool.
That's
we're not gonna say
feel
anything.
bad. We
Sorry,
we
Austin.
starved our friend.
We're sorry, Austin!
Like, I'm here for 12 hours and I'm flipping hungry.
No kidding.
Yeah, so we went up through the park. It was really weird because you're on this factory floor. You see all these technical things. It's like futuristic factory company mission control. Then you go up the stairs and you go through a door and it's a parking lot. That threw me a little because
Yeah.
there's all these cars here. All of a sudden, you're like, "What? You're making cars now? What? Oh, it's a parking lot. Okay, no problem." And then you kind of go through the parking lot, and then you're in the IT area.
Yeah. Which we didn't see much in depth. Oh, dude, the server rooms.
That was
Cyber.
Oh,
and
but
Skynet.
that's later. We're not there yet.
Yeah, well, okay.
It was cool though. We'll get there. So we walked through the IT area, and where do we go next?
There is another testing area.
No, but wait, that was on the third floor, right? Or wait.
After the IT,
That's where they did. Oh, they had the machines that did PCBs. Mm-hmm. And then they also had the people that were.
Yeah, we went like through the
straightening out
electrical
the
rooms.
cables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
cables.
Where they make all the
chips.
the little pieces and parts.
Right.
And they had
boards.
the what was it? They had one of those printing manufacturing.
Yeah, they had like a $3 million computer board maker.
Yeah, it made that was cool. It makes it prints
yeah.
up the digital prints up the computer circuits.
Does the soldering? Does the
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's just like I want to make
chip.
my own computer with this machine.
yeah.
Well, it makes the
It would
circuits.
make
sweet.
a motherboard for you.
Yeah. Motherboards.
And then in the back there, they were making all the cables.
The cables
for
and the wires. It kind of made
They
me
were
think.
putting it all
They had
together,
some.
and they had laid out all the paperwork all the way down like 30 feet of table, and it was the diagram of what they were supposed to put together.
Right.
It made me think, and they had a few ladies there working, a few guys. It made me think of like some like factory. What is it in the old days with the car factories?
The assembly line?
Like an assembly line, but nothing was moving or anything like that.
Well, he did say that's like, there's a lot of different
Those are the
degrees
techs.
of people working.
That's
Those
right,
are the
those are the
techs.
techs,
They
yeah.
were putting the pieces
hired
together.
specifically and then taught what they were
This is
supposed
their
to
job
put
to
together.
do, is you're doing this section of this cable or
We
whatever.
also said that those cables were put together in a very technical way because there were hundreds of pages describing how they were to be bundled and how to make them handle the tension.
And we didn't get a good view of probably what seemed like the most interesting room because it was just people sitting working, but they said it was the research and development room, right, up top?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this whole bunch of people at cubicles, kind of like the one on the bottom, but he's like, yeah, when the internet goes down or they can't work, yeah, they bust out the Nerf guns.
Yeah.
And then
helicopters.
And the helicopters. And he says, then when the internet comes back up, you hear a collective, aww. So, sounds like a fun place to work. And third floor, so you get a view, of Hawthorne.
But it's
Well, it would be cool just
dedicated
knowing
people
you're being part of something amazingly cool.
right,
Yeah.
right.
It's
Long hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems, and especially Austin seems to have like such a great part because his thing is connected to almost like all parts of the mission.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
So
he gets to put his
know
fingers
about
on everything.
all of it. Yeah, that's what's so cool about
Well, a
it.
great story that he's told us was that he's one of the his department. He's one of the very few people that actually get to go to the actual rocket on the launch pad. Because if there's something that has to be changed, he said he's had to go up to the capsule, change things out.
You know what? And what's cool about it is that you can, how many people working there get to actually go to the actual rockets that go to space once they're set up to go? That's pretty cool. So following that, we went down the stairs, which is where we saw the Star Wars posters. Right? Am I in the right place here?
cool.
Yeah. And then we saw
Made
the server
for
room.
SpaceX.
And then as soon as I saw the server room, I thought Space Mountain because it was all dark and
Yeah, it was.
And then you look in, and what does it say?
Cyberdyne.
Cyberdyne.
And there was another set that said Skynet.
Skynet.
Yeah, that was cool.
And what was really cool was that I was looking in there, and I thought there was like some hologram or something of one of the T-1000 machines, and actually I turned around, and it's behind the elevator, the glass elevator. When the elevator goes up, there's an Iron Man suit, and there's also
The Cylon.
Cylon.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
That
see
was
the
it.
It was
Cylon.
right next to the Iron Man.
I must have been the angle I was at. I just saw Iron
Yeah,
Man.
me too. I didn't see the
See the
Cylon.
Cylon?
either.
Yeah, it was from
Well,
the new,
that's
from the new
what
series.
freaked me out. Is I see the Cylon
Yeah.
floating
you
inside the
thought,
server
the
room.
reflection, you thought it was
like,
in the server.
wow.
Yeah.
You're like, holy crap,
Smoke and
Skynet!
mirrors.
I thought, wow, that's
They really go all out.
Yeah.
So then he's like,
Lasers.
well, we'll go through the room that we started in, that big open area thing. We'll go get you guys some first we stopped and got sodas.
Yeah.
We said, oh yeah, we'll get a soda. So we got a soda because they get free soda.
Joey's very detail oriented.
And then, thank you.
He's trying to cover everything.
Yeah.
And then, wait, now you lost me.
Oh, and then we stopped to go pee.
Then we stopped. Oh, Kale and I went into the bathrooms. We have peed. It's SpaceX.
Yeah. And I
They have
actually could
released their
waited.
payload.
Skip some details.
I could have waited, but I just had to be able to say, yes, I did pee at
You
space.
peed where Elon Musk pees.
You know, I think he has his own bathroom. You
think?
know,
I don't know.
I think he has his own little shower and bathroom.
Your Musk mixed with his.
There was
But-
Musk in that room.
He took us outside for the most amazing part of SpaceX.
But first, we had to go through the room. And remember, we're coming off the factory
Right.
floor, going into this room. It's quiet. And Daryl's like, talking. And he's like,
And my volume, like,
Was still
subtly
factory.
went down.
It did not.
at first he was.
See where we look over.
Yeah, exactly.
So then,
Passed by the Blue Badger again.
that was the whole Blue Badger. And said, "Oh, look, Blue Badger! Oh, what's that? Oh my God, Blue Badger! Oh, let's see. Okay, whatever. Let's keep walking." So then we went outside.
Sounds like a
everywhere.
really bad Marvel character from the 70s.
I am the Blue
Badger.
Badger.
This is a blue beetle.
That's right, yeah.
So then we walk outside past, we could see where all the, what was it, the big huge room? What do you call it?
Where they put stuff together.
Warehouse. Yeah.
Look like a movie lot.
It's like parts.
It did, yeah.
He called it
that's the
something
thing
and
is,
I don't remember
That's
what
where
it
they
was.
put all the stuff together.
Yeah.
Right.
The assembly room.
When we
and stuff.
walked outside, that's when we knew this was all faked and it was a movie.
Yeah. It really
It
did.
kind of looked like a backlot,
It
actually.
did.
backlot, yeah.
It really did.
So they have like
But
food.
he's saying that that outer area outside of the main building is where they do the like rough materials stuff. Like
that's right. Yeah.
They'll make like a.
They have these.
For lack of a better word, like a bell housing that turns into a thruster later on.
He
it's like roughly machined.
He called the warehouse-like place. He called it a name. I just can't remember. That made sense. I just can't remember what he called it.
Foundry.
No, it was something else. Anyway, so also there was the roach coaches and some places you get some food and stuff like that. And also
had a tent where you could take
and
it
this little place, and it's frozen yogurt.
Free
Frozen yogurt. Holy crap!
It was quite.
I mean,
delicious.
it's not that exciting, but
good.
still.
I
So we
had
got
chocolate
frozen
with
free
chocolate chips.
I had chocolate with brownies and Oreo cookies. It was quite good.
I went with the swirl too. Yeah.
Swirl.
It was chocolate and mint. And so we come back, and as we're coming from the outside into that quieter room again, Daryl's like, no, this is, I remember what it was. So he scans Austin scans his card, and as we're walking in, Daryl's like, getting some card scanning action there. we're all like,
And there was one point,
it wasn't quite as loud as the first time, but it was still pretty loud.
when we were
Card
going back and
scanning
forth,
action!
going in and going out, we kept on stopping in front of this one guy's cubicle, and the guy just, because he would be facing us, and every time we come by, you see him doing his thing, and then he looks up and looks down, and every time, about the third time, he just has that look of oh god, a tour group.
I didn't even see that.
What is up with these guys,
So then he led us to the front. We gave back our badges, and we went out, and that was cool.
And the end.
And
it was pretty amazing, and I want to have a factory.
It
like
was,
that to
and
make things.
and of course, once we got outside, we realized that the name of the place was SpaceX.
No, it's SpaceX.
yeah,
Space.
$19 massage
or sex cap.
SpaceX. SpaceX.
It was amazing to see. Basically, the future being built right in front of us. Seeing the mission control with the rocket being on the pad. I'm really glad that the initial launch was scrubbed, and it's going to be 8 days later. Because I think he said it was going to be a couple days.
No, it was supposed to be today. He said
supposed to be today.
He said it was originally
supposed to be
September 5th.
Oh,
and when he said that, I was like, oh damn.
Oh, we don't get to.
Well, no, I mean, we wouldn't.
They wouldn't have let us in, probably. Yeah, never mind. So actually, that worked out.
touring if it were a launch day.
Yeah,
but it was great just seeing everything from.
They're doing checks on
ground
it
up.
Yeah, I had the same feeling like when we were in the foundation. We went to JPL, and we were there when Cassini was in the room being built.
I remember that.
Finished practically, and they were ready to launch it. And now knowing that thing is
it's done its thing. It seems so far ahead.
Yeah,
oh my god, 15 years later it's going to be doing this, and now it's like, dude,
so it's so cool. We're going to have to keep finding ways to see new futuristic cool stuff. More field trips.
Yes.
More field trips.
But definitely SpaceX. It was just, I love what they're doing, how they're building it themselves, how they're taking the initiative and not having other people do it or relying on other people.
There's a really good vibe there, too.
I was about to say that.
Exactly,
there is. I mean, you could tell with Austin, he loves his job there.
Right,
he everything he said, you could see how positive he was. And the people around there were just you could tell they were happy to be there.
Yeah. There weren't droopy faces.
No, everyone was happy doing their job.
No poopy faces.
No droopy poopy faces. I asked if they needed an elementary school teacher, and he's like, well, maybe for some of the
some of the people.
Yeah, I was disappointed that they don't use SolidWorks, because I was going to say, hey, maybe I could go be a CAD tech for them, a CAD technician.
It's one of those places.
But I don't know their software.
They need some high-end software though. Like SolidWorks is not quite that level.
No,
and
pretty sophisticated.
And
I mean, it's like you would design a car on it, but not a rocket. Right. That kind of thing.
And I would be happy to work as a janitor there. Really, it's an awesome place to work.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it is because I don't.
Ooh, then you would do. Darn it! I can't think
Custodial engineering.
No, there's that movie.
He
Matt
doesn't.
Damon.
I would be Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting. Thank you. Yeah. Jeez. Why is that so hard to think of?
That was a long way to go for,
I guess.
Incomprehensible.
Because the janitor hanging out at the place.
And then I would figure something out and then own the
problems
company.
on the board.
I gotcha.
It would be
Right.
an executive.
I thought it'd be more like the toy where you're the janitor and then the owner comes in with his kid and you end up being his
Nanny?
This toy.
Okay, I said nanny, Kale said bitch, and Daryl said toy.
Right.
Here's the Richard Pryor
Nanny,
movie,
sex
The Toy.
toy.
Oh, the toy.
Wonder Wheel, Wonder Wheel.
That movie sucked. But
What?
That was a chorus of what?
Wonder Wheel.
100,000? What? That's amazing. Shut up over there. Okay.
Dude, I am so flipping hot.
I know. I have reached a new level of swamp ass.
Yes,
we go to
reached
cruising altitude.
Yeah.
ultimate swamp ass.
All right, wrap it up.
Cheese.
Wrap it up.
All right.
We already overextended our welcome here.
Yeah, okay. Thank you guys for joining us at our first ever special, and I hope you can join us next time. My name's Joey Shamble.
And we have the prospector back.
It's your turn.
Oh,
What's your name?
what's my name?
And where can we find you?
Oh, God.
Jeez.
You were trying to be real. I thought you were joking.
Sorry, we'll start again.
Right.
Oh, God, it's Joey Shamble Prospector. You can get me at iamramble.com. Yeehaw! Ooh, I farted.
Wait,
Yeah, it's and this is Foreign Paul Huttinger. You can find me at heyitpaul.com.
And I am Kale Anderson, and you can find me at romsrants.com.
Hi, it's Derek Jaws, and you can find me at jaws.com.
Wait, wasn't Morgan Freeman who was this?
And you can find me.
Arrgh, it's Morgan Freeman, and now I'm a pirate for some reason. Let's do all the voices we know. Let's not. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. No, I'm cutting this off so you don't start doing like voices that offend people.
Space.
All right.
Spaces! Thanks for listening. You can now stop screaming at the open air. Listeners should put their minds back in their upright positions and resume traditional thinking. Find us on iamrambling.com for access to all of our weekly ramblings, show notes, general discussions, and any projects from Incoherent Ramblings. Like us on Facebook and rate us on iTunes. So long, and thanks for all the fish.